Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our 1 to 20 Premier League predictions for the 2024-25 season. And disclaimer, we are recording this before the Man United Fulham match has happened on the Friday, so no funny business has happened, I can promise you that. Sloth, let's get straight into it. There's a lot to go through. These are the brackets. Obviously, we're going to go through the 1 to 20, starting from the bottom all the way to the top. Let's start with the relegation. Who have you got as your 3 teams to go down, and from 20th to 18th?
So I've got so this is slightly dependent on some of the points deductions that could happen, that may well happen, or may well not happen. But I've gone for Leicester, Southampton, and Forest, and I think part of the reason that I've got Leicester rock bottom is that points deduction, that they could potentially be fell. So I think it's that's going to be a hard job as it is. They haven't really brought anyone who's excited me, or I think is particularly Premier League level, apart from the right winger who they managed to keep when they came up.
Yeah.
And I think they'll struggle. I think they would struggle even if they didn't have a points deduction, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got I had Southampton and Forest in mind. I had Southampton 18th, Forest 19th, but happy to keep it like that. I had Ipswich 20th. I didn't have Leicester in here. Why Ipswich? Why Ipswich going to be the best of the promoted 3, and why do you think they're going to stay up?
I think they've signed really well, and I think that particularly keeping a hold of Leif Davis, I think he's going to be huge in their overall chances because of the amount of assists and the threat on that left-hand side that he brings. His delivery is excellent, and I think that if they are to stay up, he's going to be huge in that, because the reliance they have on him from set pieces, whether it's free kicks, corners, whatever it may be, the delivery is always quality. And when you've got the likes of Jacob Reeves, who obviously I waxed lyrical about for a long time, I think that they have physical threat as well. And if they don't play Calvin Phillips too much, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, you know what? They have made some good signings. Obviously, Ben Johnson's over there now, so I'll go with your bottom 3 on this one. Happy to go with that. But what about this next lower block? I want to kind of get through this bit before we get into the juicy bits at the top. But 13th to 17th, I think the mid block is always the most difficult to call, the most fluctuations. In my mid block, I had Crystal Palace. I had Everton in there. I also had Wolves in there. I had Leicester in there, who are obviously there now. I had Brentford in there as well. I think that was it, actually. Yeah, so those are mine. Is there any ones that you've got differently in there?
So I had Fulham, Wolves, and then I had Ipswich. And I think in the bottom 3, I had Everton's. But that was mainly caveated with the fact that I think it will, again, be decided on a points reduction if they face some sort of sanction, which we know the Premier League love to hit Everton with. I think it may be a bit too much of a task to come against a points deduction for 2 seasons running. But that said, I think they have quite a strong squad. They've got a fantastic manager in Sean Dyche, and though he could be accused of having playing some of his favourites, I think they'll have enough to stay up. So I am happy to keep them in that bracket if you are.
We've got 6 teams. Someone's got I had Fulham slightly higher. I don't want to say where. But who is it you had? Who's the one that's missing here? Have you got someone that's in here that's higher, that should be higher?
Who have I got? No? I've got Fulham, Wolves, Ipswich, and Everton and Brentford.
Got it. So yours would be Crystal Palace or Fulham. Who do we think is going to finish higher from those?
I'm going to say I think Palace will finish higher, if not just because I think that Oliver Glasner, in my opinion, is a better manager than Marco Silva. And I also think that they've kind of got a potential transfer out. They've got a top transfer, I think, that could well happen before the window shuts, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get someone, whether it's a loan, or if they, with all this money that they have, if they go out and just sign someone who, I don't think they'll be pushing for European spots, but I think will solidify them and make sure that they are just above that.
Okay, I'm happy to have it like this. I think we again this bit here is so difficult to call, but I think we've got kind of the similar teams anyway. What about? I know it's quite a lot. So 8 to 12. There's a few teams in here. Who have you got from 12th to 8th?
So I've got Brighton at 12th.
Same. All right, we're good.
I've got Palace at 11th.
Okay, so I had Fulham at 11th. So we've just swapped them too.
Yeah, and I think that they're just a tricky one, Fulham. I think if they get a few injuries, I think they'll really struggle, especially with Diop at the back. And you know, if they get the West Ham Diop from that first season, then you know they may well be in a good space.
Did they sign Diogo Carlos from Villa yet, or has that not gone through yet? Maybe I've just completely made that up. I'm pretty sure they were trying to sign him.
They were definitely linked. I'm not sure if it's gone through yet, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's face it as well. He's not one to be relied upon. So
I just think they've made. I know they lost Polina, but they've just made some good signings like Smith Rowe. Really good sign. I really like Smith Rowe if he can stay fit.
He's made of glass. If he can stay fit, that's the problem they have.
Yeah.
And I think
But then what have Palace done in this market that's made you put them higher? Because they've obviously lost Elise, massive player for them. What have they done in the market to make you think that they can finish above Fulham?
I think they've really shored up their defence. They've got the young lad over from Betis, and he is a powerhouse at the back. I think if they can keep a hold of either Gray or Anderson, I think that they can have a formidable defence next season.
Yeah, Gay could be going to Newcastle, couldn't he?
Yeah, but again, if he does, he's going to go for good money, and I just think that would be a case of they'll go out and sign someone like
losing Gay and Elise in one window. It's tough.
Yeah, but I think that's a bit of an overstatement. I think as much as I really like Elise, he's got the charisma of, you know, he's
good. You can't judge him on charisma.
No, but I think when you're looking at the presence in the dressing room, and let's face it, his attitude overall, I think you could question that. And I think while it's not a negative on him, I just think that in a Palace dressing room, if you can get someone on that right side who is gonna help boost the attitude, I think it's a really valuable aspect, because let's face it, I don't think Elise was the hype man, and and for all the brilliance that he brought, I think if they went out and got someone like, say, a Jonathan Bakayoko, or they went and signed someone from Chelsea, maybe they got Madueke, I think they could probably replace his output.
Well, they signed Sarr, didn't they? They signed Sarr as well.
I think that's an odd one, but I do think that his pace will cause problems. But as I said, if there's a manager or a coach who can do something with a player, it's Oliver Glasner. And it looks like they're probably going to keep Eze. If they can keep that sort of core group of Decore fit, Eze, Wharton, and then build from that defence, I think they'll be solid.
I can't see him finishing that high, to be honest. I don't see it.
I think the one that in that group, maybe I think will either drop like a stone or excel is Brighton. They've done some really good transfers, but I think their managerial appointment is one that could either sink or swim.
It's relatively unknown right now, isn't it? I think 12th's a safe bet from both of us there. As you say, I think they've got some very good players across the board. It may help them that they've now kind of reset. They're out of Europe again, and it's kind of similar to us. Not the same, but new manager. They've brought in a few different players. I don't know. Again, I don't know how old this manager is, but I'm pretty sure he's very young.
He is. Yeah,
And again,
30. I think he's 34. I could be
yeah.
wrong, but
So
he.
it's as you say, it's an intriguing appointment and one that could go massively wrong, or it could be a revolutionary way of bringing in management. But I think Brighton have got the fundamentals obviously set by De Zerbi to play that way anyway, so it's less of a transition for them. But it's going to be interesting to see. Definitely one to keep an eye on with Brighton. But who have you got in 10th position?
I've got Bournemouth.
Agreed.
So
Same.
I think the signing of Evan Nielsen is someone who I've rated for a very long time. I think he's a really tenacious, hardworking, and clinical goal scorer.
Great replacement for Solanke, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent bit of business for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get another forward, because Unal is someone who, although causes a lot of problems, I don't know if he'll ever be among that sort of 15 to 20 goal marker. And I think Evan Nielsen won't have a problem getting there. I think if anything, he's going to be a bit of an Antonio in terms of his link-up play with the likes of Semenyo, Cliver, Sinisterra around
Alex
him.
Scott.
Yeah, they've got a lot of ability, and
Yeah.
mix that in with the physicality of someone like Billing. I think they've got a real talented attack on their hands. It will just be a case of, I can see them getting one more forward in, whether it's a loan or something. If they can add a little bit of quality in and around that attack, whether it's another winger or a versatile forward, I think they will probably be one to watch this season, because they're.
I think it will be interesting to see whether the loss of Dominic Solanke is evident with the new replacement of Nilsson. I think because Solanke had such a prolific season last year and was so good in front of goal, it is hard to replace that no matter who you bring in. It's not a purple patch, but it's similar to what Ollie Watkins did at Aston Villa last season. He outperformed his expected goals, he outperformed his expected assists. So the data and the numbers he produced massively helped Aston Villa get into the top four. It's whether their Solanke replacement can be that person to do that. And as you say, there's still time left in the window for them to add and recruit, because they've obviously got this influx of cash from Solanke. So yeah, I think Bournemouth are definitely one to keep an eye on. It wouldn't surprise me if they finish 10th at all, which is why I've put them there. It's very difficult to call. I think Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham, Crystal Palace, they're all kind of in the same boat right now. What about onto the top 10? Outside top 9, should I say? Who have you got in 9th?
I've got Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think this is another side that is either going to sink or swim. And
Chelsea.
yeah, but for all the quality they have, they are going to be playing Europa Conference League football this season.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean,
I had them here. I have them here in my prediction.
I just think you don't know what to expect. I don't think Enzo is a particularly great manager. How you blow the lead that you have with Leicester at the top of the championship, I think that is a real question mark whether he will be a success there. As we said in another video, I think making Fernandez a vice captain is an abysmal decision that could really rock the dressing room.
Yeah.
And I think if it starts poorly and the dressing room's unhappy, you could see a real ugly pattern of the season for Chelsea. Again, it's one that they could potentially be facing a points deduction. If they get hit with something like that, I think it could well be a case that they again are struggling. But
who do you have in 8th?
I've got who have I got? Newcastle.
See, I have, so you've got Newcastle and Chelsea. I had West Ham in 9th, not Chelsea. and I had Spurs in 8th, just above us. We've now got to decide what the hell we do here, because we've got quite different predictions. I had Chelsea up
Yeah.
here. You've got West Ham slightly higher, which we'll get onto,
So,
but I'm happy to
you tell me.
certify West Ham.
Well, you tell me why you've got Chelsea so high.
Okay, so when I'm looking at the other, so aside from City and Arsenal in my top 2, who are the competitors for these next brackets? You've got Spurs, United, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea. They're kind of the 5 key ones, and Liverpool. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned Liverpool. Liverpool again, they're coming into it relatively unknown, similar to Chelsea. Chelsea, in my opinion, have a better squad than Liverpool. Have not made a single signing this summer. They've not made a single sign. They've got a better starting 11, maybe, but look at Chelsea's squad. I know people say it's a negative to have a big squad, but
Chelsea's squad has consistently underperformed.
It has.
And I think, you look at the sort of, if they have injury problems like they did last year, again, they're going to be struggling. And
you can say that of any club, though.
Yeah, but they're more than happy to throw players under the bus. They're more than happy to freeze out players. And I think it could really come back to bite them in the backside, particularly with the whole Enzo Fernandez situation. I just find that completely baffling that they've not only, they've not only sort of stayed quiet, they've then gone and basically said, you could be vice captain. What kind of message does that send out to those French players they have? I think that is just mind-boggling to me. So I would be amazed if those French players are going in there and they're happy.
We'll keep Chelsea there. I'm happy to kind of have that one, and we can put West Ham higher. I just think when you look at who's got the 3rd strongest squad in the league, Chelsea. It is
because
Chelsea.
they've got about 5,000 players,
but they've got the quality as well. You look at their if you were to do a starting 11 of Chelsea with their strongest team, it is the 3rd best team in the league. I've lost sloth on my thoughts of Chelsea, but I'll continue my point. With Chelsea, are you back? You're back?
Yeah.
Go.
Reece James is made of ham. There is no way,
But they've got Gusto, who's one of the best right backs in the league.
And if he picks up an injury,
you can't say that for everyone. You can't. You could say for Liverpool, right? If Trent gets injured, who's going to come right back?
But
if they get injured,
they've got a full season with Conference League football, and it's look, as much as people want to take the mick out of it, it's not an easy one. There's a lot of travelling, and I just, again, another French player. It's a case of, I just think it's a really toxic environment, and that back line, I don't think is as good as everyone's saying it is. The attack, in my mind, they've been linked with Victor Osimhen for about 3 windows now, and whether that happens or not, whether they're stuck with Lukaku when the window shuts, I don't know what happens. But Nicholas Jackson is a talented player. Is he a top 4 level player? I don't think so.
I think putting Chelsea 9th is crazy.
Well, Mudryk is essentially a meme now. Okay, and Sterling was horrifically out of form last season. I know he's a fantastic player, and if he comes back into form, then he can carry them to games. But I think it's a very, very strange one. As I said, they'll either be sink or swim, and maybe it's the negative side, the pessimistic West Ham fan in me. But I really look at that and I go, what on earth are you doing? Because they've got so many players who can't be relied upon. Ben Chilwell's
I think they've got way too many players, and their strategy is bizarre. I completely agree with that, but in my mind, they still have the 3rd best squad in the league. Like when you're comparing it with the competition isn't that strong. So
who are you putting in a top 4 side above anyone else then?
What, from the Chelsea squad?
Yeah.
And Kunku?
Injury prone, massive.
I'm talking about the quality of the player. Caicedo walks into it. Gusto would probably be in there.
I think Caicedo was a very generous one. I don't think he makes it into top four sides. Who does he
I think
make?
Enzo Fernandez walks into most. Cole Palmer walks into most.
Cole Palmer,
Defense,
yeah.
and then
But
again defensively, they got some. They've just signed Tosin as well from Fulham. Very good signing.
yeah, so this is where I think that's a West Ham level signing, Tosin from Fulham. I don't think it's a top four signing. That's where I am very critical of that defense.
I think defensively, like their defense isn't amazing. Like their squad that they've got for the value that they've spent isn't good. It's not like relatively it's a bad squad. But when you're comparing it to the other squads in the Premier League, compare it to Man United's squad, compare it to Spurs' squad, compare it to even our squad. To be honest, it's a lot stronger.
Well, their squad is because they've got far more players. But I just think if you
No,
look at
in
it,
terms of the quality as well, not numbers.
I don't know who. So if you were with the choice of Xerxes leading your line all season or Nkunku, who would you pick? I know it's slightly different positions, but
Yeah,
if you're
it's
going
kind
to
of different.
fine,
Comparison.
Nicholas Jackson or Xerxes.
Well, I'm one of the few that actually likes Nicholas Jackson, but
I like Nicholas Jackson. As I said, but I don't think he's a top four player.
well, you can say that about kind of any squad. Like, there's going to be weaknesses, but I'm just saying, like, what? Okay, is Spurs' starting 11 a top four squad? Is Man United starting 11 a top four squad? Would you consider these top four starting 11 teams? Probably not, because the quality, like, it's just the quality of the drop off between City and Arsenal is quite high. That kind of next five, positions 3 to 7 or 8 is difficult to call it. I could be sat here in 12 months and Chelsea finish ninth, and I'll happily say, fair play. But I just think to put West Ham above Chelsea as well is, I don't know. Why would you?
I'm being pessimistic, and I'm going on the sort of, I think the dressing room is a recipe for disaster. And I know that is a cliche with Chelsea, but I think, and it's not me just being a West Ham fan, I don't like Chelsea. I'm just going off the fact that I think it is a powder keg. And I don't think Enzo's a particularly good manager. I don't think Fernandez walks into any other of those top four sides. I think I really disagree with that. And I
Does
think
Enzo start for Arsenal in midfield?
Above who?
As their 8. So say it was Rice, Enzo, Odegaard as their midfield 3. For me, he does.
Who above?
Well, whoever they're playing. If it's Partey, Rice, Odegaard, for example, I'd rather have Rice 6, Enzo 8, Odegaard as the more advanced 8.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't think he. What would you? So you play him over? Is it Gross? No, not Pascal Gross, is it? Who's the player they signed from Brighton? His name's completely gone for me.
What, Arsenal?
Yeah.
What, this season?
Last season.
My mind has gone completely blank. I don't remember them signing a midfielder from Brighton.
They have is it the Belgian guy? Not Pascal Gross.
Not Trossard.
Trossard.
He's like a false 9 winger.
Yeah, but like he can play in that position.
Nah, I would play Enzo there over Trossard all day.
I don't know. I just don't think that.
Look, we could talk about Chelsea all day. We'll keep them in 9th. Who was it you had 8th? Was it Newcastle?
Newcastle, yeah. I just think that potentially again, if Botman doesn't come back strong, I think they might struggle defensively. And
I'm happy with that one. I'm happy.
Yeah, I think they're a good side. I wouldn't be surprised if they prove me wrong and fall into a Europa spot. But I
had them 6th for mine, and I had Spurs 8th. But we'll keep Newcastle there. I agree. I think they have the potential to finish in Europe as well, as you say. But there's a lot of unknowns with Newcastle. Again, the injury record has been horrific under Eddie Howe, especially last season. But yeah, we'll keep it as that. Who have you got in 7th then?
I got Spurs.
Right, we'll move Spurs up. You know what? I had Spurs 8th. I think Spurs have a decent chance of being finishing higher than this, to be honest. I think they'll probably contend for, 5th and 6th as well, maybe even top 4 for the majority of the season. I just think they don't have the quality in depth to do it. I think when you look at that front line, who's getting them the goals? Because Richarlison's probably going to be their main striker. Obviously, Son as well, playing in the striker position. But what do they have really?
Well, I
don't
think
know.
Solanke and Son are a very good.
Oh yeah, they did sign Solanke. I forgot about that.
Solanke and Son are a very good potential partnership, but I think there's a big drop off then between anyone else. I think Richarlison, Brennan Johnson is again. I think he's a West Ham level player, but
not a massive fan of Brennan Johnson, to be honest.
I think he's an absolute flying machine, and his pace will be one problem. But
then you look elsewhere. Where's the goal? Like where are like Timo Werner, not clinical. Heung-min Son will be clinical.
Yes.
But yeah, then Kulusevski again, pretty inconsistent. Maddison maybe he could maybe Maddison will be maybe a bit more of a surprise for this season because he didn't really show it last season too consistently.
Potentially made of glass though. He's another one. And I think they have got some fantastic talent in that squad. I think Basuma could be quite important this year for them, but I just kind of I question the overall quality in that attacking lineup.
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair. Okay, right. Who have you got in 6th? Because West Ham are still on this list, and Sloth, if they're any higher, I'm gonna have to start questioning it again.
That's where I've got us. I think. I think I've gone ambitious for us, but I think when you look at the talent that we have in Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, we've brought in Fulkrug with Antonio as well. Antonio's been heavily relied on, and now we can hopefully rotate him in off the bench a bit, or look to rotate quality forwards in. Add Somerville into that. I think there is a lot of potential to nick games there.
Yeah.
Once Alvarez comes back fit as well, I think we'll be a lot better at the back this season with the likes of Todibo and Kilman. Aguerd as well, whether he hangs about or whether we manage to move him on and again improve. I think we are in a much better place than we were last season. We don't have to worry about European football, and I think I'm hoping there's no 5-0 losses this season. But I think that we are in a better place, and with a better defense in front of Areola, I think we will see some clean sheets this season.
More than 5 or whatever it was last season in the league. So, yeah,
good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put us 9th. It doesn't mean I don't think we can finish in a Europa League spot. I just think because it's, I don't want to say it, but the transition season, it is completely new for not even the new players, but also the existing players. It's a change of mindset. It's a change of philosophy.
I'm going to say to you, though, that's exactly the same for Chelsea.
It's not in a sense that you're not going from a completely rigid defensive structure that you've been part of for 4 years. Chelsea have been changing managers consistently. How many managers have Chelsea had since we hired David Moyes? 4?
Yeah, but we don't have the worry of an unhappy dressing room to the same degree.
Yeah.
And we don't have the overall sort of injury worries that they do.
Yeah, I agree. I think, look, with Chelsea, I'm kind of betting that the quality of their players will be enough for them to qualify for the Champions League. Again, it could, like you say, it could go to a completely different direction. I think with West Ham, we don't have the distractions of what's going on, like you say, in the dressing room. We don't have the distractions of European football this season. So of all of these clubs that we're, Newcastle, Chelsea, Spurs, Villa, United, all of those ones that are probably going to be competing for these areas, we've made some really good signings, and from a squad level, from a starting 11, and even now our squad's developed a little bit. there isn't too many dissimilarities between, say, us and the Tottenham. There really isn't. When you're looking at it in terms of the quality of the players that we have, even Newcastle, I'd probably say, if you're doing a combined 11 with Newcastle, how many West Ham players would be getting into that? I'd probably looking at 5 or 6, maybe even more. Haven't done it, but I just think, yeah, it's going to be. It's difficult to call West Ham. I would be over the moon if we could get in the top 7 and get even Conference League football again. I think that would be a massively, massively impressive first season from Julian Lopetegui. But yeah, I mean, I think I've gone with 9th just because I think that's a steady first season. Hopefully, we'll have some good domestic cup competitions as well. But if we finish 6th like you've got here, then absolute dreamland. But who you got 5th?
I've got Villa. I think Villa will have a decent cup run. I wouldn't be surprised if they sacrifice the domestic cups, but I think I think they'll have a strong run in the Champions League. I think Unai Emery will want to make a point of that. But
Yeah,
I think they brought in really well, and
yeah,
the likes of Philogene Bidace, Onana,
Maatson, Barkley.
Yeah,
Really
I
good
think they've
signings.
added quality. So
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'd be really surprised if they don't finish in those European spots.
Yeah, I've got them. I had them in 7th just because, again, we spoke about it in the preview. The Champions League burden, not don't want to call it a burden, but we saw what happened with Newcastle when a club first gets back into the Champions League for a long time, or whatever, the European Cup, however you want to call it. It's a massive, massive thing, not just physically but mentally, but so much energy and time. And it happened to us with the Europa League. In the second half of the season when we got to the knockout stages, our form kind of completely dropped off. We were in that top 4 contention for a long time, and we kind of just fizzled out, and we finished 7th in the end. And I think something similar could happen to Aston Villa this year as well.
I think that's where Unai Emery will show his managerial class. I think he is the manager you want in that position.
They have much bigger depth than we had, especially in that season as well. So, look, it's tough, man. It's really tough to call because there's so many contenders for this area of the league. Top 4, you've obviously got United instead of Chelsea for me. So are United 4th for you?
I think they are. I think when
Yeah.
you look at the combinations of Xerxes, who they brought in, I think he's a fantastic forward. They've now got the guy's name escapes me, the young Norwegian forward.
Højlund.
Højlund, that's it. And I think that is a really dangerous combo. Højlund's an absolute pace machine, and with the physicality of someone like Xerxes, but his link-up play as well. If they were to ever go 2 up top, that is incredibly dangerous too. Then with someone like Bruno Fernandes in behind, playing passes into them, that is an absolutely fantastic triangle.
What about defensively? Because I had United in 5th, just outside Champions League, and I think it's because I just don't trust them enough under Erik ten Hag to be consistent to get into the Champions League.
Yeah.
And I also just don't trust their defense. I don't think they're defensively strong enough. You look at their left back situation. Malasia's just never fit. He's got this horrific injury record that's going on. Luke Shaw, similar. So they're depending on someone like Luke Shaw to stay fit. I don't think they need to sign another left back. And then you look at the centre back options that they've got. Again, I don't know if they've signed it or not by the time this video goes out. Good signing. But even the spine of the team, who's going to play 6 for them? Who's going to play, be that commanding centre back for them? And, where are they going? I've said I prefer to build a team from the back and strengthen from the defensive aspects, but they've obviously got the attacking talent to finish in the top 4. It's just defensively, that's where I've got some question marks over United.
They have also potentially got Mazraoui coming in. So I think for what I, kind of criticised him for his defensive work rate, I think that if they were to ever go into a back 3, if they had Maguire, Yoro, De Ligt in that back 3, that is a really, really good back 3. I think
Yoro's injured, isn't he?
Well, yeah, actually, that's a good shout.
Mazraoui as well. I guess he could. I could probably see him playing left back as well.
He can play left back,
and Dalot will be right back. But then he can also play right back because obviously we've got Wan-Bissaka now. But what about is the core good enough for you? Should they have gone out and signed a six? This may change in the next couple of weeks, but can they depend on someone like Casemiro to play there or Kobe Mainoo?
No, you can't depend on Casemiro. I think as soon as they get a deal done for someone like an Ugarte, I think then.
Do you think they will?
Yeah, I think they will. I think
Yeah.
I think PSG have got enough questions in that sort of position. They will probably look to get the deal done. I think even if they don't, someone like I know it's a bit of a weird transfer, but Sander Berge could be quite a good addition into that.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't think he is quite as bad as some people are saying for him. Sorry, for Man United, but I think a lot will depend on that attack. And when you look at their options, I think they've got an absolutely fantastic lineup.
Okay. I'm guessing Liverpool third as well.
No, I went Arsenal third.
Are you in Arsenal third?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Right. Arguments again. Why Arsenal third, Slough?
I think Arne Slot is a very good manager.
Agreed.
And I think that if you get an informed Mo Salah, if you get him playing well, combining with the likes of Nunez, Diaz, who may well have left by the time that we put this out, but
yeah,
seems to be being gossiped about. I think they will bring in an attacker. Arne Slot is very good at developing players, but I just think that attack-wise, they're on another level to Arsenal. Like, I don't. Well, who's Arsenal's 20-goal a season man?
Who's Liverpool's other than Salah?
Well, it's Salah. Salah. I think Nunez could well make the jump. I know he is incredibly frustrating to watch, but I just think that they have enough ability overall to set him up for enough chances to get 20 goals. I also think that, when you look at the amount of pace and physicality they have, the chances of them getting set pieces are really high as well. And when you combine the fact of Van Dijk, as I mentioned, Diaz, Nunez, Salah at those set pieces, they're very dangerous. They have goals all over the pitch, especially from a Trent Alexander-Arnold delivery.
Fairs. I just think do you think, because Liverpool haven't really made any signings, they've obviously neglected that midfield for a long time now. Again, it's a similar thing. Like, I don't think their attack would be necessarily the issue in most games, and especially under Arne Slot. I think they'll be really exciting to watch again this season. Defensively, they, for me, are not strong enough. Liverpool. They're not strong enough to compete for the title. I don't think they have that backbone that City have. I don't think they have the backbone. I think Arsenal have the best backbone now, with their defensive. Obviously, Calafiori coming in as well. Let's just debate this because our top threes are slightly different. I had Liverpool third, City second, Arsenal top. You've got Arsenal third, Liverpool second, City top. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I just think that quality attacking players Liverpool have are better than the attacking quality that Arsenal have.
What wins a title for you? Is it a defense or is it an attack?
I think if you have the best quality attack in the league, there's a good chance you win it. But we're not talking about Kurt Zuma at the back line. We're not talking about players who are poor in that sort of setup. We're talking about players who are still quality players. As much as I kind of don't think he should ever be considered as one of the best centre backs or anyone's all-time 11. I think Virgil van Dijk is a very good centre back, and if you are, looking at the options around him, they could potentially bring in Quansah as that sort of young partner. I think he would be a good move, but they still have Robertson, they still have Trent either side of them, and I think you're going to get a lot of goals from either of those two producing either side.
I can't put Liverpool above Arsenal. I can't do it. I just don't see it.
I do think Arsenal have a better defence, but I think if you were to give me a one-off game, sorry, well, not a one-off game, but if I'm looking at an attack to win a game, I'm going to go with Liverpool's attack.
Who? I don't see.
Would you have Havertz over Nunes?
Yes, I would.
Really?
Yeah.
Havertz?
Yes. As a it depends where he's playing. As a false nine, yeah.
I wouldn't.
I'd rather have obviously Nunes if he's playing left wing, but if I'm taking a false nine / striker, I'm taking Havertz, especially for how Arsenal play. And then you're looking at Saka or Salah. Again, Salah. It's very close, very close.
I like. Look. I really like Saka. I think he's a fantastic player. But I had this discussion with someone the other day. There are players who win you games single-handedly. Salah is a player who can win you a game single-handedly. He can drag you forward and drag the team forward quality-wise. I don't think Saka is that.
I don't think he's the same level, but I think he's shown that he can do that as well.
I don't think
they beat United 3-2, and he scored from like 25 yards.
I think that is the one moment where I went, oh wow, like that is where he's done that. But that's one moment. I just Salah does that across a season and wins you games.
Yeah, I think Salah's a better match winner. But again, Saka's yeah. I would say Salah's better than Saka right now as well. I agree, but I don't think it's too far off. I don't think they're massively off in quality. And look, I just think Arsenal. When I'm looking at Arsenal defensively and structurally, are much better poised to challenge City for the title. I think they've proven it as well.
I think since you gave me the Chelsea, the controversial Chelsea selection, I will concede that Arsenal can be second.
Am I allowed to put them top? Because that's where I'm predicting them.
You're predicting them top?
Yeah, I think they'll win the league this season.
Bloody hell, mate. Oh. No, you're not allowed to put them top. You can have them second, mate.
All right.
Oh, my word. That is a honker.
It's not. Why?
I just...
I'd say they're probably... well, they're not favourites in the bookies. But
maybe I am slightly clouded by my pure... hatred of Mikel Arteta. I just think he's a dog fart.
Like, I agree.
He's an absolute queef, but he's just like I think over the course of a season, I don't think even if they have say like a 9-point lead on City, I just don't think he has the managerial ability to hold that. I think he would make mistakes at some point. And
I don't know.
It's
I think they'll win it. I think they'll do it.
I can't see it, mate.
I think it's going to be really tight again.
I grew up watching West Ham, but I always loved watching the football that Arsenal played.
Yeah.
I do have somewhat of a soft spot, even if in the past Arsenal TV age, it's really been hard to like them in any way, shape or form. I just can't see them winning the title.
City again for you?
Yeah.
Even now they've lost Alvarez, they've not really recruited.
Let's face it, they're not going to get these 115 charges sorted. There's not the Premier League isn't going to.
Well, it could be mid-season.
Really, like I think even if they do that, they'll probably just hit him with it at the end of in the summer. I think.
So why are City not signing players this summer? I feel like there's an element that they know something is coming. So why would you then spend loads of money again in the transfer window?
Why aren't Arsenal signing a striker?
Slightly different, isn't it?
Not really.
They could sign Calafiori.
Yeah, but Arsenal's problem has always been up top. And I think that when you look, they didn't... Calafiori, for me, was not the difference between them throwing away the league. It was the fact that they didn't have someone who was going to be able to get you 20 plus goals in a season or as we
Okay,
said,
so Haaland gets injured for 3 months at the start of the season. Who comes in? Where's the goals coming from? They don't have that player.
Well, this is the thing. I think that when you look at the overall attacking quality they have, I think Doku will come good this season. I'm not saying he's going to be the 20-goal man at all, but I think he will come good this season. He's so unpredictable that I think that was part of the problem in the first season, with players around him not quite getting that. They will bring in someone who can get them 20 goals. I have no doubt about it. So
I don't think they will. I don't think they're looking to replace. I just think with these charges, I think they're going to be conservative, and I just don't think they have. Again, I just don't know how they go again and win the league. If they do, absolutely fair play to Pep and the squad to be able to do that. I just think you look at the likes of De Bruyne. How old is he now? You look at, I think the biggest difference between City and Arsenal for me this season is Arsenal have remained a very settled squad, and they've obviously brought in Calafiori. And again, that they would have liked to sign a striker, or would have liked to bring in another midfielder, and they may do that in the next couple of weeks. I just think mentally, Arsenal are in a better position to win the league this season. I think they know now what it's going to take. They've proven to themselves that they can take City to the last day. They just have to go to City and win. I think they're the mind, and Liverpool. If they can switch their mindset slightly and go to one of these big places and win, because they did do that last season. They did go to they got a draw at Chelsea after being 2-0 down. They went to Old Trafford and won, a place they don't normally win at. I think they went away to Spurs and won. They went to these places and got the wins. The ones that let them down were, again, the smaller kind of frustrating games where they lost to West Ham at home. But then also you're looking at mentally when they're going to City and celebrating a point. That is not the mentality of a championship winning team, and it just sets the precedent for the rest of the games of the season. But for me, it's going to be incredibly close. It wouldn't surprise me if City win it. Of course, it wouldn't.
If Arsenal can get rid of Nketiah and bring in an attacking player, even someone like Mamouche at Frankfurt, if they can bring in someone who's versatile and quick and scores goals, I think they could maybe edge it. But at the moment, I just can't see past City.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy to keep City there. I think it's going to be incredibly close again this season. But yeah, let us know in the comments, what's our predictions looking like. We got there in the end. This is what we've settled with. Yeah, this is what we settled with. Let us know down below what your predictions are. Any you think we've got horrifically wrong. And more importantly, where do you think West Ham are going to finish this season? Because that's the one that matters most to us. But yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. If you're still watching, thank you very much. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, and Sloth, until the next one.
Be nice to me. Come on, you eyes.
Come on, you eyes.